Hi, everybody. Welcome back to a CannaChef's Life. This is episode 3. I am your host, Alex Giuliano, and this podcast is designed to bring chefs in the cannabis industry value through interviews with other chefs and sponsors in the industry. Today with me, I have a nice special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Fred Bend. I'm an executive chef, and I'm from the Catskill Mountains in upstate New York at the present moment.
Awesome. Now, with your chef career, go ahead and kind of tell us, a lot of our viewers like to understand, where do you start as a chef?
I started, actually, my mother managed a country club when I was growing up. In my teen years, she was a manager of the restaurant and golf course, and I needed a job. I was 14, and I got into the kitchen there with a crazy chef named Rudy, who drank vodka from 6 a.m. to close, vodka and tab. And I started washing dishes there, and kind of went from there.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Hightstown, New Jersey, which is right outside of Princeton, Trenton, pretty much central New Jersey. Okay.
So now, after your start, where did you kind of segue? Have you always been in the cooking? Have you always been a chef, or was there a brief, a lot of chefs, particularly over the years, end up taking a break, maybe traveling, doing some other things?
I've been, no breaks along the way for me. I might have had a summer or two in there when I did some landscaping or something, but I started out with Hilton Hotels when I was 17, and I worked with them until I was 27. And at the end, I went around opening Hiltons around the country. So that was pretty much my schooling. I never had the chance to go to culinary school. Back when I started cooking, there was 2 culinary schools, the CIA and Johnson & Wales. Mm-hmm. And no Food Network. There was no hype about food. There was no, I came in at the very beginning of the boom that was going to happen. From the Hilton, I went to a catering company, and as an executive chef, that was my first executive chef job in New Jersey, and I was running 5 different locations and a satellite. It was pretty big. We did about $1 million in revenue a year, and by the time I left, we were doing 8 million and had 10 locations. And that really kick-started my career, that place. That's really where I found, I think, the love for food that I have to this day.
So to take it back to your first stint there with Hilton, we've got chefs all over the country currently in the union. How did you see the market differ between different areas where you were opening Hiltons?
That's a good question. I guess it was, a lot is demographics with those type of hotels. At that time, the Hilton was a pretty high-end hotel. Not so much anymore. You get the Ritz-Carlton, you got the Four Seasons, all those other big names are a lot bigger. You don't hear Hilton too much anymore. And I think the demographics of and the size of the hotels that I was opening, some were 200 rooms, some were 600 rooms, some had 3 restaurants in them, some had 1 restaurant. A lot of them were doing a lot of banquets and stuff like that at the time. Some weren't. Everything was done from scratch too at the time. So that was, me not going to school, that opportunity that I had there. Hotels back then, did everything from scratch. Hotels nowadays, they buy a lot of stuff to save on labor for consistency reasons. So it's the industry is a lot different from the time I started in it to what it is today, I think. And there's so the restaurant business and the hospitality industry is just exploded, as you know, over the last probably 10 or 12 or 15 years. And, you know, it's been great to be a part of that. And it's been great to, I think that the best benefit I had in my career on moving up was starting at the bottom and having to work my way up. You know, I didn't have a degree at the time in the culinary industry. And, you know, it was a lot about my work ethic and doing what I had to do to get the job done. So, and instant gratification. I think that's what really attracted me to cooking. You know, it was, you know, you were doing something different every day. You were creating, you know, all the girls wanted you in the kitchen, you know, as a chef. You know, that was another reason why I wanted to be a chef in the beginning. You know, when I was making salads and washing dishes, you know, I'd see the, you know, the sous chef or the chef, you know, all the waitresses were falling over them. So, you know, I thought, you know, that's not too bad. Maybe I can get there someday, and just worked hard, man.
Nice. Now, with these openings, were you involved at all in the menu development of the restaurants, or?
Yeah, you know, not a little bit in the menu development. A lot of it was corporate, so it came down from other Hyatts, and you know, they had a specific system for, you know, a specific blueprint when you went in there. So it was more about training and procedures and sanitation and stuff.
Okay. So it was more on the operations and the scalability of an
Yeah.
operation. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So then after that, you said that next company that you worked for was your first stint as an executive chef, and that's really where your career developed.
Yeah. I started getting into a lot of, you know, using a lot of different ingredients that I had never used. And I'm a big reader, so, you know, I was always on the internet. And, you know, once you become an executive chef, that's the only downfall, is that, you know, you're not learning as much anymore. You're the teacher now, you know, so you gotta be on the internet, you gotta be reading, you gotta, you know, staying up with the trends and what's going on. And I think that's the biggest thing I miss now, you know, being where I am now, is that, you know, to learn, I gotta go out and see what other people are doing. I gotta go on the internet, I gotta read books, I gotta, you know, you know, it's a constant, especially it's so competitive. And with all the stuff with COVID going on, I mean, I would not want to be a chef in culinary school right now. No. It's a tough, it's going to be a tough road.
Very tough road. So that first job, you said you ended the stint at the Hilton at 27, and then you had that second job. I apologize if I missed. When did that second job end? How long was that for?
I was there 7 years. I was there 7 years, yeah. And there I was involved in everything. I was involved in the menu development. I was involved in opening other satellites. I was involved in all the catering, obviously. I've always been a hands-on working executive chef. I'm not a executive chef that sits at a desk and delegates. I'm in the kitchen, I'm peeling onions, I'm sweeping a floor, I'm doing whatever.
Nice. So on the topic of menu development, mm-hmm. with launching new locations and satellite locations, was it sort of the same kind of corporate style of here's our menu and we're deploying it across multiple locations, or was there more of a polling system done in the actual regions where the locations were opening to determine a menu based on populace?
Yeah, our menu, it was a corporate menu. It was a corporate menu, and then we did a lot of off-premise, private parties off-premise, where we sit down with the client and design the menu. You know, they look at our corporate stuff. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. We had some, regular off-premise menu stuff as well on there. But it was mostly a face-to-face with the client,
right?
And the menu design and what they wanted to spend and how many people they were having and so forth.
Okay, Awesome. So really, really along the lines of what a lot of the chefs in the union do with the private parties and the very one-to-one interaction. That's now after that gig ended there at 34, where did you transition to from there?
I went to a fine dining restaurant in New Jersey. Yep. And I took a chef de cuisine job there. The owner was the executive chef there, and really, really funky, different stuff that I hadn't seen before. So it was a really great experience for me. I learned how to use seasonal ingredients and mix a lot of hot and cold in the summertime. Doesn't always have to be a hot vegetable and a potato on the dish. You can do some cool salads. You see my food on my page.
Oh, your Instagram is immaculate. Let me just say for the viewers, because during this production, your lower third will definitely have your Instagram handle. Check him out on Instagram. His page is, if you smoke a lot, you are definitely going to eat every time you see one of his posts. I'm sorry, it's just going to happen. I have been guilty of that myself a few times. It is every one of them is immaculate.
I appreciate that, man. I try to keep it professional on there too. It's just, I think there's maybe 2 pictures of me with something on there, but it's all, the whole page is food, and it's just, and I love photography also, so I've gotten into that lately too. So.
Oh, nice. Well, and on that topic, what are you just using a cell phone, or are you?
I'm just using I'm using an iPad Pro.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Have you done much research on taking photos with an iPad, or have you just kind of been winging it yourself?
Been winging it, man. Been winging it and getting better at it as I go. Trial and error.
Right. That's the best way to do it. I mean, when I first started doing food photography at Magical Butter, it was just, I would just take shots and bring it back inside to the creative director and like show it to him. Hey, is this it? Be like, nope, try again. Just trial and error until the guy's like, yep, there you go. And it's like, I apologize for the crudeness, but if you look at the food and you get an erection, the picture's good.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And it's kind of the same thing with food, trial and error. It's. I see a lot of young cooks though coming up, and the flavor profiles are obviously different. There's different ingredients now than there was 10 years ago. So it's interesting to see, younger chefs coming up and playing around with different ingredients. And I saw that, I used to see, from time to time, guys, trying too hard almost.
Yeah.
Trying to put, mix like Italian and Asian. That just does not go. So, it's interesting to watch younger chefs now, and I don't really have a great opportunity to do that because I'm kind of in a very rural area where I am right now. And I've been up here for the last 12 years, and it's definitely a slower pace for me, which has been nice. I mean, the restaurant that I was at before COVID, I mean, it was a mom and pop Italian place, and they rocked, man. And I'm telling you, in the mountains, it's I don't know where the people are coming from. There's a lot of New York City second homers up here also. And so on the weekends, I get to do some really nice specials at the place I'm at, and they really appreciate, I'm an executive chef working the line in an Italian mom and pop pizzeria. I mean, it's a big menu. It's a big, your normal Italian menu, huge menu, veal, all that, all the pastas, all the, mussels and clams and all that stuff. But I get to take it to another level on the weekends. And, the second homers from the city are usually down here then. So that, they appreciate it, which is nice.
Nice. Now, so to step back to when you ended your chef de cuisine there, what happened after that? Did that transition straight into the Italian place you're at now?
No. That was in New Jersey. I moved to New York after that. I moved up to New York, and I actually opened a restaurant here in 2000. 2008.
Okay.
Opened a restaurant here in 2008 and did unbelievable. I was doing food that nobody had, seen around here, and did great until the end of 2009 when the economy took a shit.
Yeah.
And wasn't the same after that, man. Wasn't the same. And I tried to, you try to, dumb things down a little bit so you can dumb pricing down a little bit, but then you got to do more volume. It was just, it was, just, I mean, I tried my best to do it. And in the end, I sold it in 2011 and didn't lose my, what. So I was just happy to get out without getting killed.
That's pretty rare in the restaurant industry. I'm not gonna lie. You either do swimmingly or you lose your behind.
Yeah. After that, I left and I took I think I took 6 months off, and I went and worked in Cooperstown, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. I worked at a place called the Blue Mingo Grill, waterfront dining, 1.5 miles from the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we did like 800 covers a day there. And I did the kind of food that you're seeing on my page, the real fancy shit when I post that every once in a while. 800 covers of that a day.
Oh, yeah.
It was insane. We had 40,000 people go through there in 26 weeks. We were seasonal. Yeah, so we did 1.5 million in 26 weeks. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I did that for 4 years. Working 80 hours a week, 6 days a week, and got burnt out. And then I went to the Italian place after that. Now I work a few nights and a couple days, 30, 37 hours a week or something, and I'm doing good. I love it. I love taking it easy a little bit now. I'm getting old. Those 12-hour days, they kill me. I come home from a 12-hour day, I work a couple of them. And, the next morning it takes me 10 minutes to walk right.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. The business takes a toll on your body too.
Very much so. And especially if the kitchen is not nice enough. And unfortunately, I only know from the sales side of this for my customers who sell the equipment, but those mats that you can stand on that make it a lot more comfortable in the long run on a 12-hour day, do those really do anything for you?
No. And then you know what? And then you got to pick those dirty things up and throw them outside somewhere so they can do the floors. No, they don't.
Noted.
But anyway, the cannabis. I'll talk a little bit about that. Cannabis really helps with a lot of the pains I have.
Okay.
So I mean I've been smoking and eating edibles for 25 years. And it definitely helps with the chronic pain. It helps with stress. It helps with anxiety for me. I mean, it helps in a lot of ways. I got a medical card in New York a couple of years ago when they became available to get. But I'll tell you, New York State got to be the worst state in the country for medical cannabis.
Oh.
And most expensive probably. Yeah, there's no flour, there's no edibles. You have a pill, you have a spray, you have a vape pen, which is like $200 for a half a gram. Yeah, or a pill, a THC pill. So needless to say, I make my own stuff. I've been making edibles for quite a few years. I do everything from chocolate to gummies to, Rice Krispie treats to truffles. I do all kinds of stuff. Nice. And, what works best for me with edibles is BHO. I like the wax. I like live resin, for potency too. I use a lot of coconut oil to cook with. If I'm cooking like a dish for dinner or something, I'll use an oil or a butter.
Right.
But for candy and stuff like that, I like BHO the best.
Yeah.
And the best flavor. The best taste. The chocolate's dynamite.
Yeah. Ooh. And then with your infusions, a lot of people, some people still use crock pots, some people still use some things. What is your method of infusing your coconut oil or your BHO?
Okay, so I use the magic butter machine for a lot. When I'm making butters, that's what I use. When I'm making oil, that's what I use. I also have the lift, the decarboxylator, the lift. You know that, I'm sure, that little thing that decarboxylates. That thing's money. And the BHO, how I do that, I tried it. I've tried it in the lift in like a glass vial, but I can never get it all out of there. So you're gonna think I'm crazy how I do it, but I take a metal measuring cup and a blowtorch, and I go outside and I do it slowly over a blowtorch, and the bubbles. When the bubbles go crazy, you got to be, it's very touchy, man. And I wouldn't recommend anybody that doesn't have experience doing it that way, but I find it's the best way to do it.
Hey, and for some of the viewers, go ahead and explain what BHO is, if you wouldn't mind.
It's butane hash oil. Most of the time, I don't know if I can say this, but we can cut it anyway. I buy it black market from a dispensary. Sometimes I make my own. If I really like the strain, I'll make my own, where it goes into it looks like a test tube. It's got a hole at the bottom of the tube. You grind up all your flour. You put it in there. You put a really fine screen on top. And I use a zip tie to zip tie the screen on. Turn it over. I put the butane can in it. And then again, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody who doesn't have experience in doing this. And you push it out into a pan, and then you let it sit in a vat of 130-degree water. All the butane bubbles out, and you scrape it with a razor blade, and you're good to go. You got your own homemade BHO. But like I said, I don't make it too often anymore. In the beginning, I used to make it. Now it's readily available to me, cheaper than what I can do it for.
Well, that's a plus.
Yeah.
So, now to transition back, sorry to just flip topics on you so hard.
All over.
With the ending of, with transitioning into the Italian restaurant, how long had you worked there before the COVID crisis?
6 years.
6 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And with this COVID crisis, how much, because I know down in Florida here, it was a bit of a drag at first, but Florida is one of those rebellious states where the people just kind of, pardon my French, they just kind of say, fuck it.
Yeah.
We don't care what the government's saying, we're going to do what we want to do. How is it impacting your business up there?
Well, first of all, I'm not working. So that's impacted. I'm the highest guy, highest paid guy in there. And we just went back to indoor dining at 50%.
Okay.
But people still aren't coming in, man. People still aren't coming in. The takeout business is through the roof. Okay. I talked to the owner last week, and they were doing triple the amount of takeout the whole time until the unemployment ended. Once the unemployment stopped, business fell off big time.
So that was July 31st, right?
This was the first week, actually. Yeah, this was actually the first week where that $600 isn't there anymore.
So with your career, it's been mostly outside of the cannabis industry. If you're able to speak to it, what are your plans as it relates to getting into the cannabis industry?
I want to get into the edible side. I want to get in with a dispensary maybe. And I mean, with my background, I just don't know how to go about doing it, and obviously I got to be in a state where it's legal. So my wife and I have been talking about moving.
Right.
We're not attached to any house or anything here, so we can get up and go wherever. My daughter's in college now. So, wherever we do move, I want it to be a legal state where I can pursue. I'd like to learn growing first. I'd like to work with a master grower, just to for my own. I mean, I love to learn. I love to learn whatever it is. If I like it, I'm 150% in. You know, just like I was with cooking, just like I am with my edibles, just like I am with golf. Just everything that I like, I put 150% to my detriment sometimes because I drive people crazy probably. But I'm definitely an A personality. And rather be busy doing something than sitting around doing nothing. I'm not one of those guys that sit around. So, how I'm going to go about doing that. I mean, this is a step in that direction. Everybody that has my edibles tells me, you gotta connect with somebody. Your stuff is better than any of the dispensary stuff I'm eating. So, I mean, I just don't know, what the next step is or what the next platform is that I need to reach to do that. But, I'm slowly starting to do that. I'm slowly, in the last few weeks, I've made it a point to market myself on Instagram, just with food. So I've been going crazy trying to get followers and posting stuff every day. I was never doing that before. My daughters helped me with that a lot on the, in doing all that. So, I mean, that's what I love to do. So I love everything about cannabis, from smoking it to eating it to growing it. I just enjoy it, and it helps me immensely physically. I've had a couple I've had a knee replacement. I got a bum shoulder. I played ice hockey all growing up, and cooking, long day. That's hard on your body, and cannabis seems to help me with that. So I'm all for it, and I'm totally upfront with my daughter too, who's going to be 20 this year.
Okay.
So there's no hiding what I do. I told her I have a medical card. I said, look, I'd rather eat or smoke something than take an opioid for pain, and that's what was prescribed to me, and I just never liked pills. It was just not my thing, and they didn't help me as much as cannabis does. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to break into the industry somehow. So hopefully this is gonna help me do that.
Now, on the edible side of things, and I don't mean if this comes across as an offensive question, but what do you have that's unique compared to the current market?
I have that's unique. You know what? I wouldn't even know how to answer that question because I've never been in a dispensary to look at. I mean, I look online, obviously. I look at stuff online, but I haven't had much to taste from a dispensary. So I wouldn't even know how to answer that question. I mean, my stuff, the taste is unbelievable. I do, different. It's not just milk chocolate I'm making. I'm doing dark chocolate pretzel sea salt. I'm doing, white chocolate with nerds. I'm doing all kind of crazy kind of chocolate.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at there is like a lot of the standard is things like a brownie or a cookie or a gummy. And it's like, what outside of that realm? Because it's like, Chef Joey's got granola. He's got some, some really somewhat healthy options, if you will, but really more, he's got beef jerky, like things like that are a little further off the wall. Where do you have in that realm? Do you have anything in that kind of realm?
Well, you just gave me an idea because I do jerky in my dehydrator all the time because guys hunting is huge where I live. So I get venison all the time. So and I do I do a Thai chili, like kind of teriyaki jerky that I'm definitely going to do with some oil now that you just said that in the marinade. Great idea.
It's and because Chef Joey introduced it to me through CBD at first. And it was
dude.
The flavor profile was amazing.
His flavor profile is just, I mean, I've gone through his page up and down, and he's phenomenal.
He is culinary genius in my opinion.
I would love to try some of his stuff. I'd probably feel about this big after, and I'm sure I would come down the rung a little bit.
I wouldn't say to sell yourself short, because there's only so good anything can be when it's got cannabis, because there's always that little bit of a bite to it. But
Right.
his stuff is phenomenal, and hopefully we can get you two connected so you can try his stuff and potentially get to operate under his license at some point. But yeah, on the regards to getting yourself out there and kind of getting licensed under either your own corporation or somebody else's active license. Have you done, I know you're saying Instagram, have you done much TikTok at all?
No, I have not. I know my daughter does that. No, I have not. I don't even know what that's about. I thought it was just like a funny clip song thing or something.
It is kind of more of a clip style basis, and it's popular among the youngers. I guess they're Gen Z, the generation after millennials are big on dancing and things of that nature on there. But I've actually seen a lot of chefs do, like, because I think the format is 15 seconds of a video that you can cut together. It might be longer than that now, but just quick little recipe videos where they just essentially have beauty shots of them cutting the ingredients with text on the screen that says how much of the ingredient, and then just quick little snippets of each step, and then, you know, the instructions in text sort of deal. And those are pretty popular.
I like
Some
that
chefs
idea.
try to come up with challenges or certain things of that nature, like try to do this while you're cooking, or try to cook this
Right.
many of a certain thing. Those kind of challenges seem to do well on TikTok. Something to consider.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have my daughter help me with that. She would love that. She's a photographer too, so.
Oh, good. And then actually Instagram just released a new feature in, I think, 30 different countries now. Because TikTok is under such hot water with the international situations with Europe, forcing them to build a data center in Europe to store the data and not store it in China. And then the US is forcing them to sell their US division to a US company. It's Instagram released a feature that's pretty much the TikTok platform, but on Instagram. It's called Instagram Reels. So anything that you produce for Instagram for TikTok, also post on Instagram Reels, because every time they come out with a new feature, they actually boost those posts harder in their algorithm, because they want more people to use their new feature, because they want to see if it works, if it keeps more people on their platform. And if it doesn't, they want to get rid of that feature.
Right.
It's yeah. So and it's been like maybe a week since that feature was released. So that would be a good place to start as well, as Instagram Reels.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah. Awesome. So since we're towards the end of this interview here, did you have any advice for people who want to get, I should say, aspiring chefs, people who want to get into the chef industry there?
Advice. I have some reality. If you want some reality, I can give you some reality. It's definitely a demanding job. You better be prepared not to see your family, not to have any holidays, not to have a life pretty much for the first 10 years. And then things will get better, and you'll start making money. And you gotta really love it. That's that. I'm just busting chops. You gotta really love it. If you're not into it 150%, I would suggest that you do something else, because that's how competitive it is. I mean, I love it, and I couldn't. I mean, there was a break in my career. I left cooking when I was 47, and I went and sold food for Cisco for a year and a half.
Okay.
And which is, pretty much the biggest food purveyor in the country. And I was driving around. I went from being an executive chef to now I was a peon begging people to buy food from me now. So now I had to like go in and tiptoe around and let me show you this, and what do you think, and grovel. And I'm not a groveler, so that didn't work out for me. And I immediately went back to the restaurant business after that, and I really missed it too. I couldn't picture. I have no regrets about anything, especially being a chef. that's something I'm proud of, and that I've worked hard to build a reputation. And I'm proud of the work ethic that I showed along the way, and the upwards trail that I took, in position and in money. One of my biggest idols was Anthony Bourdain. I read that book in 2000, and I had been doing it a little while by then, but that's when the culinary business, I think, really, really, that's when I think people really wanted to become a chef after that book came out. And I still love it to this. It's a love-hate. It's a love-hate, man. It's a love with I feel very fortunate that I'm able to create every day, and I'm not sitting behind a desk and working 8 to 4, and getting up out of my cubicle and getting in my car and going home and having dinner and getting up the next day. And I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And the atmosphere. I love the atmosphere. I love the pressure of a Saturday night. I love the pressure of a Saturday night, and having tickets stacked up all the way down and buried 10 deep at the end. And getting out of that. And at the end of the night, saying to everybody, good job, you guys want a beer. That's just, that's the tits for me. That's what makes it all worthwhile. That's that gratification. I don't think you can get in too many jobs.
Yeah.
So, for somebody starting out cooking, a lot of guys come out of school, they work a year and they can't hack it. And that's that. They're done. A lot of guys start at 30. Decide they want a career change and decide to go into the restaurant business, not knowing, this glorified vision of, well, I'm going to go be a chef. Yeah. That works out probably 1 in 5. But I love the business. I love the people in the business. I love, it's a business of misfits, and I'm like the head. So it's fun.
Oh, that's great.
It's fun, man.
I've got one final question here for you, and it's actually a selfish question, because all of this content up to this point has been for the chefs, but now I want some content for the union here. And the question is, what can we do, me being one of the owners, but the rest of my team as well, Brooksy, Joe, Jonathan, all of them, what can we do as a union to help you even more with your career? What are you looking for that we're not providing, I should say?
I couldn't say you're not providing anything. This is basically the first contact we've had. So, this is helping me. And I think you would know better than me what would help me, because, this is what you do. This is what you're good at, and connecting me with that guy, Joey, I think would be great. Maybe I could, I don't know. Like you said, he's got licensing. Maybe I could work under his license for him. Who knows? I don't know. Just the contact and the networking would definitely help me. Doing this podcast. This is cool as hell, man. I was honored when you asked. I went home and showed my wife the text. I'm like, oh, they want me to be on a podcast. No, this is awesome.
Well, I couldn't help it. I kept scrolling through it, and I wasn't lying earlier when I said, if you smoke too much and you look at your feed, you will eat. There have been multiple times. It's been like 11 p.m. just scrolling through. I'm like, oh, well, now I have to eat.
And I'm doing all that food baked most of the time. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I'll be sure to keep you in mind then with every sponsor that comes on board. We'll try to connect sponsors directly to you, particularly up in the New York area, so that we might be able to get you some products or some placement or some other things as well. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. What do you like to go by? What do you like to be referred to as? Chef Fred, New York chef?
Fred. Fred's good, Fred? Man. I'm not. Like I said, I'm a from the bottom up. So, You know, there's some guys that say, you know, I see that on Instagram too, and I'm like, you know, Chef Joey, I can understand. The guy's got a business.
Right.
You know, you look at somebody's page, you know they're a chef, but whatever. That's just my thing. I like staying a little bit more low key.
Hey, I totally understand that. Well, thank you very much, Fred, for your time tonight. It has been a fantastic interview. Hopefully, we're able to provide you even more value beyond this, and hopefully this interview is able to provide other chefs with more value as well. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been episode 3 of A CannaChef's Life. Thank you so much. You can tune in to other episodes on our YouTube channel. If you're looking
Follow my page.
Go ahead.
Follow my page.
Yes, follow him on Instagram at @ny_chef. Fantastic page.
Hey, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Drooling. Absolutely. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, have a great night, sir. Thank you very much. We will hopefully speak again soon to have you on here again. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for watching episode 3 of A CannaChef's Life featuring Fred on Instagram at @ny_chef. Please go follow him. His food photos are phenomenal. If you are looking for more episodes of this podcast, you can find it on our YouTube. If you're looking for more resources on becoming a cannabis chef or how to further your current career as a cannabis chef, please visit our website, ccunion.org. That is ccunion.org. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.